This was during my time while I was still in school, finishing out my last 2 years of school. And I worked at a coffee shop. It was the Coffee Bean that was 3-4 blocks away from the main Blizzard HQ. And so we had a lot of regulars come in. And, you know, it was just a regular 9 to 5. Everyone hates retail jobs. I don't have to like hark on that. But it was made so much easier because, well, you know, every single rush, my morning rush, my lunch rush, and then my mid-afternoon rush, well, I knew Blizzard employees were going to come in. We can talk about StarCraft. Hell, some of them would talk to me about League of Legends. We'll talk about LCS, you know, how Cloud9 and TSM are doing. It was great getting to just be able to interact with them and then also just see what people who are in careers that are their passion, right, are actually like. And seeing them pursue their passion in their career made me want to actually do that myself. At one point, you know, when Overwatch was like released, that's when I was like, you know, these guys have made their passion their career and they've produced this great video game. I want to do something similar. What is my passion? It's esports. And so by working there, by working around all these Blizzard people that I got to talk to esports about, it really was the kick in the ass that I needed to get out of there and get into esports. My illustrious career on Rise Nation. So it lasted all of about 4 weeks where I was scrimming with this team. It was Winky Face who had competed at Agents Rising. And so the star of that team was Dyrus, TSM's Dyrus, the former top laner. They had competed at Agents Rising, and then the other members, they wanted to stick together after that, and they were getting offers just because, well, you know, this is one of the first lands. It was actually my buddy Nibs, who was going to play, I forget which role. I want to say DPS for, secondary DPS, who, you know, asked me, hey, you know, I've seen you play Lucio. I know you've got good movement. You have your head on about this game. You've been playing since, you know, day 0. Then he kept hounding me. It took a good maybe 3-4 weeks before I finally gave in, and I was like, yeah, sure. At the time, I was concentrating on my casting career, and I was working very heavily doing early Korean tournaments. But, you know, like most pros, they see their shot and they take it. And I didn't want to wake up 5 years from now and kick myself in the behind for not taking my shot, right? You just have to go for it. I mean, that's kind of the point of the entire esports industry. You see an opportunity, you go for it. And so I did. But long story short, 4 weeks of scrimming, and then 3 hours before we were supposed to sign, I got booted and replaced by Sox, who's still a great player. So congratulations, Sox. He played with them for about a month before they got dropped for Xretzy and everyone else. Oh boy. So yeah, Esports Arena, you talk about long casting days. This was starting January of last year, 2016. I mean, it did start 2015, really, but there was a long gap in between. It was difficult. It was hard, but honestly, it was the passion that fuels you. And to this day, a lot of people will say, oh, why are you always so happy? Uber asked me that a lot. You always seem to be happy and you love everything. And well, I'm thinking to myself, I'm enjoying the journey. I'm learning a lot as I come along. You know, I get to see everyone else work hard around me. And so I learned to appreciate all the hard work that's put into me looking decent, at least on camera, on broadcast, everything. That's the biggest lesson, the biggest takeaway I've gotten away from those long days, and especially on days like today, where we had a pretty long broadcast. It was a 6-hour broadcast, but we came in 2 hours before, and then, you know, there's going to be 2-hour meetings afterwards. It's just appreciating the fact that, you know, there's a team of 10, 20, hundreds behind this that are probably suffering harder than I am. So a long day really doesn't mean much. You say a variety of titles, but really I only did Counter-Strike before this. I tried my hand at League of Legends, but Counter-Strike definitely was the biggest influence, and especially because the casters from Counter-Strike have just such a long history that they've been able to develop their craft, work with each other, develop their banter, everything. They fine-tuned it. And so most of my idols, actually, most of my influences come from Counter-Strike. So you have Sadakist, he sounds like he's singing. He's got this cadence to it that I try my best to bring in. And then, of course, you've also got Uber, who's just a rock star right now in the Overwatch scene, but he did do a lot of Counter-Strike. And when I saw him work with Pansy, that's when I knew he was like the absolute real deal. She's also the real deal, by the way. But the two of them just working together, seeing that's what I strived for. That's what I want to do. Like, I don't have a duo partner myself when I cast. I don't have a dedicated duo partner like a lot of other casters do. And that's what I'm going to be striving for when I move forward. And it's all really built off the back of their Counter-Strike history.
For more Overwatch interviews and analysis, subscribe to our channel. You can also find stats, discussions, and more on our website and mobile app at blitzesports.com.